Well, hey, this is Josh Nelson with Plumbing and HVAC SEO. And one of the questions I get often is, can PPC actually drive a return on investment for plumbing and HVAC businesses? And it might be a question that you're asking yourself because maybe you've tried PPC in the past with Reach Local or Yodel or one of the other companies that do PPC, and maybe you spent some money and got no return on investment, which is commonly the case. As I talk to plumbing and HVAC companies throughout the country, most of them have tried paid search, Google AdWords, Bing search at some level, and in most cases they feel like it was a waste of money, and they just don't feel like it can be something that returns investment. And so I really wanted to shoot a quick video to address this question and encourage you that if done correctly, PPC can generate a great return on investment. And one of the things I like best about PPC is that it's something that you can ratchet up and ratchet down. So as you look to scale your plumbing or HVAC business, and if you maybe do business with us or you've been following our trainings or read our book or sat on our webinars, you know that we're all about SEO, right? Getting the website set up right, making sure it's built to convert, making sure that you're ranking well organically for the most commonly searched keywords in your area. But that takes you to a certain level. And if you want to be able to turn the knob, generate more traffic, generate more calls, generate more leads, PPC is that great engine to really give you that control and basically unlimited scalability. And really, in order for PPC to generate an ROI, there's a couple things that have to be in place. First, you have to have the conversion tracking in place. You have to be able to say, how much did we spend, how many leads did we generate, and what was the true cost per lead and return on investment. The other thing is, you have to have a campaign built for the Google AdWords process. So Google AdWords is a complicated beast. It's a lot more complicated than just bidding more than your competition. And so you have to have quality and relevancy in order for your campaign to have a manageable cost per click. And of course, it has to be focused on conversion, right? Relevant so that someone clicks on it and your cost per lead is low, but then also really good converting landing pages that don't just focus on cost per lead, but also focus on long-term ROI, because you could spend 10, 15 bucks a lead just targeting very, very basic services. But we all know that water heater replacement or that geothermal system or that repipe has a higher transaction value than a general service and repair job. So you need to be thinking about, how do we minimize our cost per lead, but at the same time maximize our return on investment by closing some of those larger transaction deals. And so just to kind of hit this question head on, whether PPC can really generate ROI, I want to share some examples and case studies with you. Real world plumbing and HVAC companies just like yours leveraging PPC, and kind of show you behind the curtain how this tracking should look for you so you can really gauge your return on investment. So I'm going to pull up a couple quick examples. And this is a dashboard that we use that really helps us gauge on a period of time how our PPC campaigns are working, how they're returning investment, etc. And so this is just looking at the last 30 days from May 22nd to June 20th for a company that we work with down in the Ohio area. And really, there's all kinds of cool things on the dashboard: how many impressions, how many clicks, what the click-through rate was. But really what I like to pay most attention to is how much did they spend. So $2,135 was their spend to Google AdWords. And then how many leads did they generate? So how many web forms, how many phone calls for $2,000 spend, 198 leads for an average cost per lead of $10. Now in plumbing HVAC, that's really good. I like to see the cost per lead somewhere in the no more than $25 to $30 per lead for most plumbing related campaigns. So if you're down less than $30, you're really doing pretty good. This is obviously a fantastic example. Another example, company on the HVAC side. So there's a plumbing example. Let's show an HVAC example. This is a company in Louisiana that we work with, focus on AC installation, repair, and heating. And in this campaign, it's a $1,300 spend over the last 30 days, 10 web forms, 37 phone calls for a total of 47 leads, which gives us an average cost per lead of $28.33, which for HVAC is really quite good. I think in most markets, you're shooting somewhere in the $50 to $75 per lead range for really highly qualified HVAC related leads. I did also want to show an example of a full service company that does plumbing, HVAC, and some remodeling. And so, some of you guys are full service, and here's an example: $2,300 spend, 153 leads, average cost per lead of $15. So, this is just some examples of a really well-structured campaign with good landing pages, targeted ad groups, all the right conversion elements can generate leads at as little as $15 per lead. Now, I don't show these examples to kind of get you hyped up on the fact that you're going to get $10 and $15 leads via PPC. I think ideally you should be looking at something like 25 to 30 for plumbing, 50 to 75 for HVAC, and then somewhere in the, let's just call it $40 to $65 range if you're a plumbing and HVAC company with your budget kind of split evenly. But I do want to drill down just a little bit further on this and really dive into the return on investment, right? Because who cares how many leads you got if you can't really quantify whether there's a return on investment. So I'm going to pull up a calculator, and I've just got a calculator to go along with what I'm showing you here. And so what we're finding, and we track, a lot of our clients use CallSource, a lot of them use Service Titan, where we can really see how many of those leads were qualified and got booked, and then what the true return on investment associated with that is. So in this case, we had 198 plumbing leads. And what we're finding, as we average this out across our plumbing and HVAC clients, is that about 40% of those are turning into book jobs. Some of them are solicitors, some of them are customers calling back, some of them are just wrong numbers, but usually a good quality company with a good answering process and a good dispatchers closing at about 40%. So that would mean they generated about 79 book jobs out of these 198 leads. And we're finding the average transaction value in plumbing is about $450 per transaction. So we're not looking at the lifetime customer value. If we just look at average transaction value, the small jobs, the big jobs, kind of average it all out, brings us to $450 average. So that would mean on this $2,135 spend, they generated $35,000 in plumbing service and repair work. So if we divide this number into the spend, that's how we figure out return on investment. $35,000 into 2,135 should give us approximately a 16-time return on investment. And so you wanted some case studies, you wanted some proof. This is an example of a company getting greater than 16-time return on investment via PPC as a plumbing company. So I'm going to show an example now of an HVAC company. I'll go through the math a little bit quicker, but just so you can see what I'm looking at, 47 total leads, and we're finding the average conversion at about 40%. So that gives us 18 booked jobs, and we're finding in HVAC the average transaction value is about $750. That includes the installation projects as well as repairs. So we'll just use an average $750. That gives us $14,100 revenue, and if we divide that by the spend of $1,331, that gives us a 10-time return on investment. And these examples are really cool. I like to say in PPC, you should be getting at least a 3-to-1 return on your investment. So if you can, and I just want to peel back, in anywhere else in life, if you could put $1 in and get $3 back on the other side of it, wouldn't it make sense to do that? And the answer is absolutely. And the other question is, how much money would you put into a machine? Let's just say instead of a slot machine, it's a vending machine, and you can go up to that vending machine and put $1 in and choose the $3 coin, and then $3 come out on the other side. How much $1 bills would you put into the machine? And the answer is really as much as you could. And so, with PPC done correctly, like we'll do it for you, or like I can show you on the webinar that I'm going to be conducting, can have a consistent 3-to-1 return on investment just about every time when it's done correctly. So now let's look at another example. So this is the full service company, does plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. Just looking at the metrics, 153 leads, times an average of 40% click to call. Call to meeting ratio, that's 61 jobs. We're finding on average it's about 650 for plumbing and HVAC. So we'll multiply that by 650. That gives us $39,000 in revenues on a $2,304 spend for a 17-time return on investment. And so, here's 3 examples with 10x return on investment. And we talked about that slot machine and the ability to really put as much money as you can, and how I believe PPC is the engine that lets you really have unlimited scalability in your plumbing or HVAC lead generation process, because you can increase the spend. So I just want to share one quick example of a much larger spend. So those companies were spending somewhere in the $1,000 to $3,000 range. Here's a company spending $10,000 per month in paid search. And they can do that, and I know there's companies spending a lot more than that, and we manage some campaigns much larger than that. But they can do that because they know these metrics, and they're able to scale their spend. So in this case, $395 leads times an average conversion rate of 40% gives us 158 booked jobs. Now this is plumbing, so we'll use an average of $450. That means $71,000 generated on a $10,179 spend for about a 7-time return on investment. So the multiplier is a little bit lower, but the scale is greater. We find that when you get more and more of these types of jobs and you're going out on more and more of these service calls, the propensity to have a handful of much larger projects is greater. So that kind of closes the loop of this whole question: can PPC really drive return on investment? And as we're doing this, as Google partners, really tracking the metrics, tracking a lot of our clients into Service Titan so we know the true revenue generated, we're finding the answer is emphatically yes when it's done correctly. So if you'd like to talk with us about having our team manage PPC for you, we'd love the opportunity to talk with you. You can call us anytime at 866-610-4647, or I've got a webinar coming up where I'm going to be outlining exactly how to structure your PPC campaign correctly in order to maximize your return on investment, minimize your cost per lead, and really give you unlimited scalability in your plumbing or HVAC business. So thanks for joining me on this quick video. I look forward to seeing you on the webinar and hopefully working with you at some time very soon. Have a great day.